business owner? Entrepreneur? Want to learn how online marketing can improve your business?
Your questions.
Our advice.
This is Not a Real Job.
Welcome to episode 80 of Not a Real Job, a podcast about sound technician, learning how to make things work when nothing wants to work. I'm Joel Kelly, and nothing works for me up in Canada.
I am Chris Van Patten, and it's been a heck of an episode for us so far.
We've been at this for 13 minutes, Christopher.
Yeah.
13 precious minutes, and I'm an old man. I don't have a lot of good years left in me. I can't be wasting time on...
Sure. No, I feel like an old man, so I feel like I get that.
Now you feel like an old man culturally and in the way that you experience the world and your music.
Also my physical ailments.
Okay, yeah. Are you sick again, I guess?
I'm not currently sick, but I have achy bones. I'll probably need a hip replacement in the next couple of years.
You're often sick.
Yeah, I am frequently sick, but I'm sick-free right now.
Well, that's good. I mean, stay indoors, try not to get too much fresh air, and just really coast to the grave.
Sure. Now just to clarify for our listener out there, lots of audio trouble. Because there's something going on between here and Halifax where our Mumble connection did not work. So we switched over to Skype, which did not work. No. So now I am using my Skype credit to call your cell phone.
Yep.
And we're making this work.
Well, we haven't listened to it yet, so let's not say too much about it working. Yeah, I think it's really just my internet is dropping intermittently. We had a pretty crazy storm overnight and then early this morning. So it's probably just my connection to ye old internet.
Now, I don't want to insult the great country of Canada. That's fine. To be fair, we're not in much of a better position down here, but you guys seem to have a lot of internet problems.
You know, there was a time, Christopher, when Canada was kind of famous for having one of the best internet infrastructures. I don't know what happened. It all kind of fell apart. Like, we're all on broadband here, which, you know, has been the case, I think, for most of the Western world for some time. So it's not, you know, in the olden days. It's just things are pretty slow and covered in ice right now. I think the ice might be the problem. We had a snowstorm
maybe blocking the connections.
Well, we had a snowstorm and then a rainstorm and then an ice storm that all kind of happened within about 10 minutes of each other. It was pretty dramatic. Everything's coated in ice. The city has actually asked that residents, and this is not a joke, go outside onto their street and try to help clear storm drains because now the whole city is flooded. So
how's the city? Okay. I have a very limited grasp of the geography of Halifax, but this is a city that slopes downward toward the water.
More or less.
Where does the flooding happen?
There are some streets that are, like, on the side of a hill. It's possible to, like, flatten out a section so that it is perpendicular to, let's say, sea level, and that can become flooded.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
And then say, like,
we don't have that in New York.
At the bottom of the hill, for instance, it can collect. So yeah, I mean, you know, snow and ice play a role. So,
ice and snow.
So the storm drains are full. It rains. Everything floods. Not ideal.
Sure.
No, you don't have this in New York because you guys don't experience weather there.
Right. That's generally true. It's 72 degrees Fahrenheit year round every day. Sun, blue skies. You know, it's pretty great.
It's like Bermuda.
Yeah,
that's why they call it the Bermuda of the East.
That's why you see the prominent Bermuda short.
Right.
Worn by most of our residents.
And businessmen.
Yes, businessmen, businesswomen.
Well, let's not go crazy.
That's true. But yeah, no, it's actually really cold today here. Or I say really cold. It's really cold for New York City. It's not really cold for where I'm from. I'm certainly not. I'm guessing where you're from, but it is.
What is the what's the temperature there?
Oh man, I should have known to be prepared. Let's see.
You can't make a statement like that and then not give me a digit.
So it's 20 degrees Fahrenheit, which, and then also feels like 2 degrees Fahrenheit. Oof. Now, I don't see where the button is to translate this into Celsius, which is good because this is America. But I'm guessing it's cold.
It's pretty cold. Yeah, that's pretty cold. I attempted to Google some of that, but my internet's out. Let me just see.
Right. Although I also will say this. So my hometown, I just pulled up. And in my hometown, it is -6 degrees Fahrenheit with a feels like of -30 degrees Fahrenheit. Oof. Excuse me. So we are cold, relatively speaking. I am glad I am not in my hometown today.
Yeah, I think like Toronto was getting like -30-ish, like feels like -40, which, yeah, if you do the conversion at that cold, it's the same. I believe they cross over at like -44 or something. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's -30 Fahrenheit is -34 Celsius.
Yeah,
so
basically the same.
Yeah, cold.
Well, weather
this has been our podcast about amateur meteorology. Hope you've enjoyed it. No, really, it's not.
It's not about.
I want to give a quick shout out to a friend of the show, Josh Ness, who I had drinks with this week to talk a little bit about podcasting. Our experience doing Not a Real Job is he's sort of thinking about doing a podcast for his business.
You should learn from the best.
Well, I think that was sort of the idea there in consulting me in particular. But no, it was a lot of fun, and also something that I think is worth saying, like for Not a Real Job, for my own business, for all of our own projects. It can be very easy to sort of be in your head about those and kind of, confine it to sort of emails and text and just kind of thinking about it in your own head. And meeting with somebody from the outside can be a super valuable way to articulate some of the stuff that you're thinking about. And even just me there sort of off the cuff talking about our experience doing the show was able to come up with some ideas, focus on a couple ideas for plans, realize some things that maybe we could do better. So I think it's always helpful to say some of that stuff out loud.
I don't think there's anything we could do to improve this. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about our setup here. With my headphones plugged into my phone.
Yeah. I mean, nice. To be fair, I think this is how real like radio call-in show type things get recorded with actual phones. So maybe this is actually more professional.
Huh. Are we doing a radio show right now?
This is going out live.
Call in
3 listeners.
1-600-Doctorb.
1-800-501-1876. That's actually the Van Patten Media phone number. So
310-3030. That's Greco again.
911.
Ask for Joel and Chris. What's your emergency? Marketing.
Oh man, I do have to say that in the process of trying to figure this whole audio situation out, I was directed to Yahoo Answers.
Oh my god.
And I don't want to trample on the toes of the brothers McElroy, but one of the suggested questions here is, why is my phone sighing / yawning? So,
what do people got for that? Like,
oh man, we're infringing on some trademarks here. Actually, there are no answers.
Oh, that's interesting. A disappointment. Maybe we should make up one.
It's sighing because you've upset Jesus.
It's always Jesus. I think it's fine for us to kind of crib stuff from other podcasts. I like to think of Not a Real Job as a mashup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
that's an interesting.
As people in their 20s, and as I quickly approach the final year of this delightful decade, I think it's up to us to kind of be I hate to use the word curators, but I think that's what we are.
I was going to say the same word.
I think we're cultural curators. We listen to podcasts, we watch things on the internet, we read, it's important for our generation.
Content.
Yeah, it's important for our generation to be known as one in which nothing new was created. That we took, the world's already got enough. We're taking it, we're consuming it, we're digesting it, and we are expelling it back onto the internet in a more refined, more dense, and more colorful way.
Sure, but would you say that to extend the metaphor, are we sapping the nutrients out of these things before we expel them back into the world? Okay.
So we get all the good bits, and then we expel just the waste and bacteria.
So is that what this show is? Is this just our way of getting rid of the crap?
I think this is, if we didn't do this show, Chris, we wouldn't be learning anything. And so we have to produce this show as kind of it's a byproduct. And perhaps this could, let's say, fertilize ideas for other people. Maybe other more qualified people will be able to take what we've made here and turn it into something beautiful.
Now, I would say that I think I agree with that, but probably in more of the what not to do sense. You think that's fair?
I think so. I think you can take, I was going to say something lumpy, but I don't know. I feel like we've stretched the metaphor to its conclusion.
Sure. One more question here on the Yahoo service that is cracking me up.
Perfect.
What area codes are higher than 916? I can think of at least 84.
Yeah, they're. Oh man, that's
917 through 999. I'm sure.
Are those area codes though? Who knows? Maybe.
There's a full list here of all the area codes from 917 and up. Okay. Anyway, we've stolen from other podcasts for far too long.
And that's
what do you want to talk about, Joel?
Oh, we're actually going to do this. Let's see. Let's talk about, what are you drinking today?
I was afraid you'd ask that. I'm drinking water.
That's fine.
It's not my fault. By that I mean it is. Because I meant to go out and get some wine, but it didn't happen. So.
Well, yeah. Well, I've got a similar predicament here. I'm drinking a beer, but it's one of the last, and the liquor store is going to close in 35 minutes for the day.
And we're still going to be recording this podcast.
Almost certainly, and it's closed. Tomorrow's a holiday. We finally have a holiday up here.
Wow, what's your holiday?
It's like Heritage Day or something. It's a made up thing just to give us a February holiday, I think. I hope I'm not being super
So we have a holiday
offensive.
tomorrow as well.
Yeah, you have President's Day, which is it's
also kind of made up.
Yeah, but it's got a name and everything, and you guys have presidents, which is kind of cool. I mean, I've always found that pretty interesting. So why not give them a day? They deserve it.
Sure.
Not all of them though.
Ugh. That Barack Obama.
Yeah, thanks, Obama. But thanks to Obama, we have a holiday up here now. I assume that's the correlation. I think it's called Obama Day, actually.
Sure. So to keep you guys from
we got
working
2 more
while
good years.
We're not working.
Correct.
Interesting. Interesting. I like it.
So, yeah, it's been all my life. We have not had a holiday in the province of Nova Scotia, as far as I know, between New Year's and Easter. So that's a long stretch of the dead of winter to go through without a day off. So it's kind of exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm not going to work tomorrow.
Well, any big travel plans for work or for not work coming up in the near future?
I'm going to London on April 1st. New York.
Maybe we'll hang out.
New York, mid-April.
Excellent. Wait, I won't be here.
You're going to be in London?
Well, I'll be in Europe. Well, it's all close over there, right?
Yeah, it's all just a quick train ride.
Yeah, I mean, you could just walk from place to place.
Well, I mean, if you want to be fit and active, you could also bicycle, but I think everyone just rides the train.
That's true.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
Wasn't there that guy who was commuting from where was it? Somewhere to London. He realized that it was cheaper for him to like commute from another country than to live in London for his job. Was it Spain?
That doesn't surprise me.
London
is an expensive place.
It is. I'm going to be over there. I'm doing a little talk over there about social media and the travel and tourism industry. And then a client is attending a big conference in the NYC mid-April. So I'll be there for that. And I'm sure there'll be a number of other trips interspersed in there. But yeah, your big trip is, what, a week away?
Oh, less than a week away.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, I leave Saturday afternoon. So, just 6 or 7, depending on how you count it, short days away.
Are you feeling prepared?
Crazy. For the most part, I think I'll pull it out in the last stretch here. It'll work out. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I'll be leaving Saturday afternoon, getting in Sunday morning, and then I'm there for, at least 2 months.
Wow. I'm so excited for you. That's so cool.
Thank you.
Living life.
Yeah, it should be a good time. Absolutely. But yeah, no, it's been interesting to sort of figure out a trip like this with relation to work. Obviously, I have the kind of a nice advantage in that I can work from anywhere. I have an internet connection.
Yeah,
but
you've got a fake job.
Exactly. But it does sort of bring up like some other things. Like I had to, I've got clients sort of scattered over the world, so there are time zone things that I had to sort of plan for and figure out in advance. And figuring out what of my travel gear or what of my electronic gear I would bring and figuring out ways to, make that relatively lightweight. So like planning for the podcast.
Yeah.
What microphone do I bring? What cables for that do I bring? Do I bring a stand? Do I not bring a stand? Do I hope I could get one there? And then also, planning for the worst. What happens if I get over there and, I lose something or something gets stolen? How am I going to be able to quickly recover from that?
Or
I don't lose out
murdered.
on work opportunities.
I
get murdered.
Have you warned your clients about the possibility that you're going to get murdered in Europe?
Well, I haven't. I mean, to be honest, I'm less concerned about murder, more concerned about kidnapping. I think that's going to be the real...
Yeah, but if you get kidnapped, that's just the brief break before you get murdered. No one's going to provide ransom for you.
That's true. Yeah, I guess I should really have a contingency plan in place.
I'm just saying, Chris, if someone were to contact me, and I assume I'm your next of kin, if someone were to contact me asking for ransom, I think I'd let you go.
Huh.
Yeah.
I'll take that to heart.
Yeah, I mean, not in a mean way.
Just a practical sort of...
I'm busy. I can't dedicate too much of my time to getting you back, Taken style. I mean, I'll see what Liam Neeson is up to. And I have watched those movies, and I've got a pretty good idea of what to do. But it seemed like a lot of work. He was running like a lot. And you know how winded I get.
Oh, I mean, I'm in the same boat, so I totally understand.
Yeah. Now, if they're like, tricky. You can get them back. All you have to do is like call this number and... Really, if they said all you have to do is call this number and we'll release them, as long as I could get fancy hands to do that, I think you'd be set.
Yeah, but if they actually needed you on the phone,
oh no, would be a whole other. That's a bridge too far. There. Yeah, so that's exciting. I'm really your last days are going to be in such a beautiful place. I've heard. I've never been there.
Well, it's been interesting. I've been out and about and seeing people and whatnot, as one does in New York, but constantly hearing from people, multiple people, multitudes of the masses.
As many as 2 people.
As many as 4 people.
Wow. What a life.
Just how much they loved Barcelona and are so jealous that I'm going to be there. And I'm like, that's cool. I guess I'll find out when I get there.
Yeah. You were like, shut the F up. I'm going. Live your own life.
Yeah, exactly. Let me experience it.
Don't you hate that when people try to get excited with you for something and you're like, don't try to leech off of my life?
Yeah, well, I mean, truly, I hate it when anyone gets excited in any capacity for any reason, myself included.
Yeah.
It involves so much, expending so much energy, and I'm just not a fan.
I get real sleepy when people are excited around me.
I get really real sleepy no matter what.
Yeah, you're
sleepy now.
You're a sleepy little baby.
That's true.
Well, that's exciting. I mean, I love the time zone thing. Yeah, that'll be a challenge. I've got we manage social media accounts that vary by 8 hours. Yeah, we've got clients in the Pacific time zone and clients in the UK that we do social media for. So the time zone issue is always exciting because there's a 4-hour difference.
Now, how does that work for you? I mean, in terms of like meeting with a client like that, you can kind of work out that there are a couple hours that always kind of overlap. But how does that work for scheduling social media posts? Because in the past, we've talked a little bit about scheduling, and I know that you're not a huge fan of scheduling. So does that mean that for those morning or evening posts, you just kind of let it slide? Or
no, I mean, we have to do a fair bit of scheduling for stuff like that. Yeah, but not scheduling more than like a day out. We don't do anything like, you don't schedule your week's worth of posts or something. So you just, you kind of buy yourself a little time on either end by doing a bit of scheduling. But I mean, we also have to be kind of on call as well. That's kind of especially true for clients in the Pacific time zone. So, their nights just popping off when it would be normal for us to be heading to sleepsies. So it's really just, making sure we have our team scheduled. I mean, I'm too, I don't know what the word is. I need to be kind of on call all the time. I don't need to. Someone else could easily do it, but my personality is such that I need to kind of keep an eye on everything all the time. So that just means my sleep schedule is a little different than might be typical. But it is a challenge, but it's also really exciting, and it's cool to get to work with people all over the world, and it's never been an issue. And honestly, clients take it as a selling point that no matter where they are in the world, we've already got it figured out. You're not working with a team that's going to have to figure out what to do if something comes up in the middle of the night. We've got that. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. I think the idea of, working with somebody in 12 hours away or whatever it is, if you are a service provider, and especially somebody who's providing something that's kind of an on-call sort of, I don't know, everyday type service where it is kind of time zone dependent. So I think, social media is a really good example of that. But if you do it right, or if you plan correctly, and if you, sort of think of these problems in advance, it can definitely be a really big selling point.
Exactly.
That you are a little bit removed. You can make that work really well for your clients. So definitely, like, if you are somebody out there who's looking to take on a project with somebody 5, 6, whatever, how many hours away, like, and you're like, oh, that's going to be tough to organize meetings and this, that, and the other thing. I think that's actually a good thing. Yeah. Like, I know for me personally, with some of my clients in the West Coast, clients in Europe, like, it's actually kind of nice because, when I am working with a client in the East Coast of the US, we're kind of matched up on time zones. And that means that I'm constantly accessible to them. Yeah. Which makes it sometimes, not obviously every day, but there are certain times where it can be difficult to actually get things done because you spend so much time responding to their emails and things. But when you have somebody who's offset by you, by a couple of hours, it means that you're really only accessible to them within a certain time frame, within a certain window every day, which makes it really easy to, sort of spend some time managing the client and then spend more other time working on the project. Yeah, I think there's so many there's certainly pros and cons, but I think the advantages of having a little bit of a time being offset by a little bit can be super helpful. You end up getting in a groove where you can kind of maximize your, efficiency with a client based on that time zone. So our clients in the UK, the huge advantage is that by the time, they're wrapping up for the day, we've still got 4 hours left in the day. So we can still be doing so much stuff for them that'll be ready before, they get in the office, or if they have a late night emergency, it's not at all late for us. And then the clients on the other side, I mean, before they get into the office, we've done so much work for them. And honestly, I mean, how to say this? People who work in big companies tend to have a more confined 9 to 5. The industry that I work in, we're used to having, some pretty serious shoulder hours, like earlier and later. So it's not
it's not a big deal for us to work a little earlier or work a little later, but it's a huge advantage for the client if they are kind of in that shoulder time and we are able to do so much work for them when someone who is in their same time zone would be, clocking out at the same time they are or clocking in
Absolutely.
at the same time. So I think there's a big advantage to it. And you just have to have a system. We've got one worked out. We've got enough clients in other places where we've had to come up with a really sophisticated system to make sure that people don't feel neglected or worried that the time zone's different. So I think it's a big advantage.
Absolutely. And I would also say, like, for somebody, if you're in the position where you are doing the hiring and firing at your company, or if you're, in a small shop with a couple of contractors, you can really take advantage of time zones in a way that is actually, super beneficial. So I think, one thing that we have in particular for the show is Lindsay, who's over in New Zealand, and Steve, who's over in England. So you might think, that, might make things tricky in terms of handing off different components, but it's actually worked out super well in that, basically Steve edits the show and then hands it off to Lindsay. And because of the way the time zones work, that means that the show notes are usually ready pretty quickly the night before, if not 2 nights before sometimes, depending on how quickly things get turned around, which means that there's a little bit of time for me to log in and make sure things look okay. And we're not really, under the wire to get things out, which is great because we do turn around the show relatively quickly. I mean, we record usually on Sundays, and then it goes out on Wednesday bright and early. But it does mean that, in a recent episode, I don't remember exactly which one, but we had to record on a Monday for some reason. So we recorded Monday night, and Steve was able to turn it around like Tuesday afternoon. But then the way that Lindsay's schedule worked, like she posted it and wrote everything up on what was her Wednesday morning, which was actually our Tuesday evening. So like it all sort of aligned in a way that was really beneficial. So I think if you're in a position where you are, maybe working with a client who has a time dependent project, you can hire, virtual help from overseas who are able to work in that time zone. So you can kind of set things up for them or put a process in place that you don't have to worry about getting up super late or super early to finish things when there are other people who would already be up that late or that early. So that can be a super valuable way to leverage and take advantage of the fact that, hey, people wake up at different times of the day relative to you. And that can be super valuable.
Yeah. And that's exactly it. I think kind of, get it. The internet works everywhere. You don't have to be, no longer do you need to have people, next door to get good work done for them. So I think and if time zone has been one of the things holding you back, I think Chris and I can speak from plenty of experience that it's not really a big deal. Just make sure that you have a system in place and that the person you're working with understands it, and that, there's an understanding of when you'll be available, when you won't be, and it'll be fine.
I would even go as far to say that not only is it not a disadvantage,
right,
but that if you play your cards right, it can be an advantage.
Exactly.
If you understand the rules, if you understand how the way the world works, you can make that work for you.
Yeah,
that was an interesting conversation.
I think that was.
Say so myself. Hope that's helpful.
It's a modern
to all
world
of you out there. Indeed. So I think, with your permission, Joel, I think that takes us to the next segment of the show.
Permission granted.
Excellent. So this is the part of the show where we share with you our Amazon picks, and these are not pictures, but actual things that we have picked that we like, products that we have purchased through the fine Amazon service, and we want to recommend them to you because, one, we like them. Two, if you like them or if you're interested, you can go online and buy these yourself through the links at notarealjob.com/episode-80 or notarealjob.com/gear. And we get a little bit of that, which helps us make the show. So what are you going to put in this week, Joel?
Just pulling off my phone here because my internet doesn't work. I am going to suggest the book Scientific Advertising by Claude C. Hopkins. This book, David Ogilvy, in one of his books, suggested that if you were serious about advertising, you should have read this book 7 times. I have read it now twice, and it is fantastic. It's from the 20s. And it's about advertising and about how advertising should be able to be scientific, that you should be able to measure success and results. And it has this amazing paragraph near the end about how Claude C. Hopkins is predicting that the time has come, like we're at the end of the time where someone can produce advertising and not be able to back up its results scientifically, which I think is amazing because obviously there's still a lot of people out there who are full of crap and have not been held accountable. But basically this goes through how you can measure results. Almost all of it is still applicable today. Advertising has not changed that much. It's probably gotten less sophisticated, not more sophisticated over the decades and over the century. So I really recommend it. It's a very short book. It's a quick read, but it'll teach you a lot about what you need to know to get results from your advertising. It's especially applicable now with internet advertising and social media, where that is very measurable. So if you're not measuring it, if you're not measuring your social media and your online advertising against business results, then you're a charlatan. So
yeah,
get
just
on
a
it.
big dummy.
Well, yeah, and I am comfortable saying that if you do social media advertising and you're not measuring your success against business results, at least as far as you can, at least when it comes to filling the funnel and getting new prospects to the website, you are full of crap and shouldn't be employed. Anyway.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So I am going to recommend the Joby Grip Tight GorillaPod stand.
Ooh.
And this is a really cool little stand, tripod, basically, that lets you mount your smartphone to a tripod. Really cool little stretchy clip. I don't really know how to describe it. Go to the link and you can take a look. And it lets you put in smartphones of different sizes. And then it's on a nice little tripod flex mount thing. I'm not using the tripod that came with it, although it's really nice, but I'm using the clip part of it to actually mount the microphone that I'm bringing with me to Barcelona. Because I think I've talked about before, I've recommended the Samson Go mic, which will also link here. Super nice, compact microphone, except that the clip that comes with it is really heavy. It's like 4 to 5 times heavier than the microphone itself, because it's made out of like solid metal. So I took the clip off and I'm going to be using this clip instead because it's dramatically lighter. It's a lot more compact, so it's nice for travel. And yeah, this is a really cool little kit that I'm hoping to not only use for the mic, but also my smartphone to post some cool shots from Barcelona. So yeah, take a look at that. It's pretty cheap and I think you'll like it.
Awesome. Well, let's burn through some housekeeping. So you can find all of our recommendations at notarealjob.com/gear. You can find our internet website at notarealjob.com. You can go to that /questions to send us in questions, /iTunes to subscribe and review us, rate and review us. Has anyone rated and or reviewed us lately, Christopher?
I am in the process of refreshing the iTunes feed right now, but I'm not seeing anything new coming up. So no, it's been a little while. We really love the reviews. We actually, I think it was Michael who wrote to us last week about the question for his wedding photography business. He sent in a really nice email thanking us for our advice and promising to send, a follow-up later. That's awesome. We love hearing that feedback. And also, we love it if you put that feedback up on the iTunes page because it really, I don't know, it helps other people listen to the show.
Oh, maybe that's it. Don't email us. Put your questions in your review, but give us 5 stars.
5-star review.
Yeah, your 5-star review. If you give us 5 stars, we promise to answer it. If you give us anything less than that, then we won't. We
will berate you on the show.
Yeah.
Basically.
So, threatening listeners. It's the key to success.
Not only are we on iTunes, we're also elsewhere on the web. You can find us over at Stitcher, notarealjob.com/Stitcher if you're into Stitcher. We also, have our direct feed on the website. So if you don't want to use iTunes or Stitcher, or you want to use something else, you can get our RSS feed directly from the site. We're also on YouTube. We post every episode over there, and it's a really great way to share the show with friends. notarealjob.com/YouTube will take you there. Of course, we are on Twitter as @Chris Van Patten, @Joel Kelly, and @NarjCast, NARJcast. And also on Facebook, facebook.com/notarealjob. And I think that's everything.
That's literally everything in the world.
Cool.
Well, hopefully this episode recorded well, despite our ridiculous setup. And I love each and every one of you. Everyone send Chris a see you soon. Have a good trip postcard.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, and if you want to get a postcard while I'm in Barcelona, send us an email. I think it's info@notarealjob.com, and let me know your address, and I'll add you to my list. And that's a cool way to get a little thanks for being a fan. Sorry you're not here, Memento.
That is going to be an opt-in for all of our marketing efforts, however. Just a heads up.
Yeah, we're going to start sending you.
You're going to get a
day.
lot of stuff in the mail, but also a postcard.
Also a postcard, so it's all
signed by
worth it.
Chris Van Patten himself, and he promises he's even going to give a little kiss on it. I'm
not going to sign it.
Kiss the postcard.
Because I'm definitely not signing it. Not going to kiss it either. I won't see the postcard before it gets sent to you. So there you go.
He's going to give it a little smooch.
No, not quite. But yeah, I think that does it for us, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye forever.
Bye.